Well, it is a little bit noisy out here, but I want to do something different, and I'm challenging myself to take it that extra mile. I keep a Frag journal. I've been doing that since November of 2017. And when I sit down with people of fame or people of creative energy, and I explain to them the purposes of breaking things down to better understand, to create with, and to put it in forward motion, it's basically activating your gift not only when you're in the mood for it, but when you're not in the mood for it. And so I've always wanted to turn that into some sort of podcast. But the thing is, though, is that when you defrag, it's so personal. And that side of my personality is going, wait a second, we don't need to work on that because this is not going to be about me. It's about opening up the eyes and hearts of all people in the way that they can start questioning who they are as a person. Not as in judgment. It's understanding the emotion of who, what, why, where, and how you are in this place. Because everything that you are right now is just part of the continuation. The continuation of not only you, but your mother, your father, their parents, and the parents before them. And so learning how to break down the walls is what defrag is all about. Now, sure, I did a defrag podcast where I had a computerized voice that was asking the questions and things like that. I believed in it, but I didn't believe in it. And I really feel like you need to hear more of the honest-to-God questions that we should be asking or need to be without preaching. Just basically sharing a story. And that's what this is. This is defrag. I will do the defrag entries while on my transition walks. For the longest time now, for at least 3-4 months, I've always thought that you got to do something with these transition walks. There's so much creative energy out here. The universe is moving through you. But how can you do that? Well, through defragging, I have really tried so hard to come up with ways on how to defrag and do these transition walks all on the same page. But how do you do it in a way that keeps things open for people to understand? Well, first of all, you got to understand one thing, that the things that we do in the everyday world, you have to get comfortable with the idea that not everybody's going to agree with you. Not everybody is going to support what it is that you're going to do. In fact, there's probably going to be times during these defrag walks, basically, these transition walks, where I'm going to have to put it on pause because I'm out here in this forest with my dog. What do dogs do in the forest outside of sniffing the ground and doing little tiny tinkles here and there? They take big old craps. And so we're going to do things where I'm going to say, be right back, gotta clean up my mess. On this particular chapter of defrag, I want to talk about why so many people are emotionally attached to the brand new Black Panther. How does a movie grab your emotions the way that it does? Yet, you and I, we're not supporting the movies the way that we should be. So the question is, what is it going to take for us to get back into that theater knowing that Black Panther is affecting us in ways that your flat screen never will be? I don't care if it's a 70-inch TV. It ain't going to happen. You're not going to have the connection. And I think that's one of the reasons why my sister did not like the Elvis movie, because she watched it on her TV. I said, you had to be in the theater. You had to be in that moment. And if you're not in that moment in a theater, then you're missing out. You're missing out on that universe where the connection is from wall to wall, floor to ceiling, and the sound is really way too loud. But I would say that the inconvenience of having to go to a movie theater and forking out a ton of money for that seat, and then let's go ahead and buy some popcorn, some M&Ms, got to get a large Coke, and all of a sudden you realize that you had to stop by the bank to get a loan before anybody in your family really got anything. Hold on a sec, my dog is dumping. I'll be right back. One of the sad parts about Hollywood is the fact that they're trying to tell us what we look like, what we smell like, what we're doing. And it kind of reminds me of my experience in the 40X theater that Regal has, where you go in, you strap yourself in, and the seat moves. They, throw water on you. There's wind. There's everything like that. I lasted 30 seconds in that thing. But still, it captured my emotions, and it also gave me a moment that I could hold on to forever, because everything in life is always moving, just like that RDX theater. And so, you take situations where Hollywood does not want us to see ourselves on the screen. And it's okay, like the other day I was talking with Sharon Glass. And Sharon Glass is an actress. She'll tell you her career is over, but it's not, because we dug deep into that. When I was asking her questions, it was like, no, you've got this, you can do this, you can da-da-da-da-da. And we had it honest to God question to question to question conversation. And it wasn't based on the interviewing process that we see on late night television. And I love me some Howard Stern, but sometimes I don't want to hear that kind of an interview. What I want to hear is an honest-to-God conversation about the realms of reality. To the average person, what does that mean? What does that require? There's the defrag for you. Let's break it down. How do you get the realms of reality when Hollywood is saying this is how you should look, this is how you should have, dine, this is how you should, arrive in your fancy car, when in reality, it's a 1963 Volkswagen. You got to ask questions. You got to break down the barriers of other people's faults and things like this. And what I mean by faults is that everybody is carrying the weight of what they did the other day. I was studying yesterday my meditation, which is Nidra. And one of the things that it talked about was the tension that we have in our everyday life. The tension is there in everything that we do. We all think that, when I get home, I'll have a glass of wine, I'll have bourbon, and everything that is tight will loosen up. And that is not true at all, because now you start worrying about, what am I doing to my body? Do I really need this? Am I addicted to this? So the tension is always there. Learning how to really make yourself present, not only in your life, but other people's lives. It sounds like a tedious job, but it's not. When you break it down, when you defrag, you understand that we are human beings, and it's in our nature to have communication. Put down the texting. Stop sending the emails. Pick up the phone and have a verbal conversation, even if you're looking at them. I'm not somebody who likes to do the video phone calls. I just don't like that. I won't even do Zoom or anything like that. And the reason why is because I'm not looking at you in your real eyes. What I'm seeing is what the computer is wanting to, give it to me in the colors that it has set. So breaking it down, defragging, wondering, when am I going to catch back up? Then the question is, do I really want to catch up? What is the situation? Does that make me an old fart? You see how I'm breaking it down? That's defragging. And so learning how to understand who you are as a self is now given to your fingertips, your eyes, your imagination. And now you're told, go teach it. What, me? I'm not a teacher. I'm not anything but someone who has a wild dream and a dog that wants to pull me through this forest in whatever direction it wants to go, and I've got to hit this road the way that I'm hitting it. We all have those things in our life where there's something always trying to take us off the path that we're trying to do. And that's what I did with radio. 43 years of a broadcasting career. And I've always been quoted to say, since year number 36, that I didn't start my radio life until after 36 years of radio. And people looked at you kind of strange. And I said, yeah, as long as I was in terrestrial radio, I was doing what everybody else was doing. And I was being told what to do, what to say, how to dress, blah, 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 blah. So when I took up the streaming aspect of broadcasting, all of a sudden, I was in control. And I believe that's one of the things, as we break it down, as we defrag, that's what's wrong with a lot of people when it comes to the workplace. You sit there and you go, I can do this job. It's not that I hate my job. I just don't get to be me. Break it down, defrag, and sit there and ask, what do you want to do? Have you done that? What can you do? What are your capabilities? What are your abilities? What is it that you would like to do so that you don't have a job, but rather you have a choice? I don't have a job. I make the choice every day to go to work. I make a choice. Changing your thoughts. And so that's what this defrag is all about, is to try to help you understand that it's perfectly okay to ask yourself questions. To not only just look at yourself in the rearview mirror, but to sit there and trust that self, that the decision that you just made was a really good decision. It might have been a small decision compared to the landmines you really want to make. And we all want to reach fame somehow, some way, even if it's the fame with your grandkids or somebody else in your neighborhood. You want to be able to do this and do that. And what we're doing is we're just digging into a gigantic hole that's been there forever. It's like the tension in our life. We just keep adding to it. But when you ask questions and you discover new answers, the needle in the haystack is found. Now the question is, what are you going to do with that needle? Are you going to sew with it and repair a lot of other things that's happening in your life? Or do you throw it back in and hope to God you'll find it another day? I'm Arrow, and that's Defrag.